Well, howdy do, guys. It's like 11:02, and the fucking Luke Bryant concert rush totally made us late for the BFG. I'm with the big fat geek to see the big friendly giant.
Yeah, my dad was at, because I told him I was going to see the BFG, and then I hadn't seen it. He was like, well, what does that stand for? Big fucking gun? And I'm like, well, if we were talking about the Doom series, yeah.
Oh, shit. I've been waiting for this movie to, like, exist for, like, ever since I was in kindergarten, and my favorite teacher ever read it out loud, and it was just one of the most magical, like, endearing experiences of my life. Like, I've loved storybooks, like, my entire life, especially Roald Dahl. I've never really known how to say his name, but the author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, The Witches, his books were so heartwarming to me, and the BFG was obviously my favorite. And I'm just really happy because they got the perfect director for this, Steven Spielberg, I think.
Ooh. Yeah, that's going to be good then if it's Spielberg.
Well, I mean, lately his movies have been hit and miss, but I see a lot of magic in this movie, like Spielberg magic, I like to call it, where it just harkens back to his old, directing roots when he was a phenomenal director. And I'm just really looking forward to it. I've heard different things about it, particularly from my older sister's husband, because he gets screener passes to everything pretty much, but obviously I've seen a lot of movies this year, and
because there's a lot of good movies coming out this year.
I mean, and a lot of not so good movies, but there's a lot of different movies I can try and compare this to this year, in both visual, like, aesthetics and just enjoyment aspects. Because with Finding Dory, I purposely did not make a review on it because I know it'd get a shit ton of dislikes, which I can totally explain later if that's, like, something you guys would be interested in. But I'm really hoping this movie just makes me feel like a 5-year-old.
And, I was telling him earlier, I'm going blind into this. I've not read this book. I haven't seen any trailers for the movie. Basically, he just texted me while I was sitting in the drive-thru at Dairy Queen an hour and a half ago maybe. He was like, hey, do you want to go see this movie tonight? I was like, I've got no reason not to go.
Yeah, originally, it was going to be Trevor, because Trevor loved the BFG, like I loved the BFG, and then he couldn't. Then I texted Tarek, and he's like, no, I got to work in the morning, so fuck you, Tarek! You piece of shit!
But I don't open tomorrow, and I'm off tomorrow entirely, so...
You did this to me on Civil War, and you're doing it to me on BFG!
But at least you got me. I mean, at least I'm a decent consolation prize.
Oh yeah, you're a better talker.
The Purge review, we just sat there.
Don't talk about the Purge. No,
Would you rather we talk about Fantastic Four?
You're gonna piss me off before the movie. I'm already kind of pissed because it's 11:05 now, and the Luke Bryant concert fucked us! Anyways, we'll be right back. Whew. BFG, man.
Pretty good movie.
Pretty good movie. Like, I think it's a little underrated. I think critics are being a little too harsh on it, and I think even on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score is higher or lower than the critic. I think it's like 70-60 maybe.
I might have to read the book now.
Oh yeah, it was like such a faithful adaptation of the book. Obviously there's subtle differences, but they don't really change anything. It wasn't like, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, where they completely minimalized everything relating to Snape and the Half-Blood Prince story, but...
Or Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and how they pretty much butchered that. But
I mean, that's a different thing for another time, but let's not open a can of snozcumbers yet. But let's talk about this great movie. It's not a perfect movie by any means. I'm pretty sure there's, like, some pacing issues with it. Like, let's just get that out of the way first. There's a lot of downtime in this movie, like, a lot. Like, I even went to the bathroom, like, with the last 15 minutes when he was talking about Sophie's Dream. I'm like, read the book, I know what this is, I'll be right back. Because I was about to piss my pants, but, I mean, that's important with this movie, because, like, with the downtime, you get to grow with these two characters, and you get to buy that their friendship, and not creepy. because I have to give the BFG credit. It took like the concept of a little girl and an old man being together and didn't make it creepy, like I was worried about. And like I actually bought their friendship. I bought their bond that they were trying to establish in the movie.
Well, one thing that I thought, having not read the book, in the beginning, I wasn't sure if that was the giant or if it was the boogeyman and then the giant was going to rescue her. You know, but I mean, I agree with what you said. You know, I bought into the friendship. I bought into the movie as a whole. You know, it was a very, very entertaining film. Like you said, it did have some pacing issues at the downtime. I thought the climax could have been drawn out just a little bit longer.
Yeah. This movie is very, very, very kid friendly. Like, very kid friendly. Like a lot of fairly juvenile humor, and I mean, we were laughing all the way throughout. But not even like the juvenile humor, like the fart jokes and everything, because the bubbles fizz down instead of up, so instead of burping it, they fart. But there's like not a lot of turmoil in this movie. Like, there's nothing that's really like scary to little kids. Like, they're gonna see like giants and they're gonna be like, ha ha, and they're, you know, big stupid giants. But I would have kind of loved to see some intimidating, you know, bone crushing, you know, child chomping giants, you know, like they said that. And obviously, you know, they wanted to make this movie cater to kids and everything, but it was just really, really, really lighthearted in every part of the movie. And there wasn't a moment I was like, oh God. So I'm thinking, like, if you take your kid to see this movie, they might like have pleasant dreams about it, or if you took them to see The Jungle Book, they might have nightmares about Shere Khan.
Oh, and that's not to take away from this movie at all. You know,
absolutely
they knew their audience and they catered to it perfectly, and it worked.
Because I mean, the visuals in this movie, oh my God!
Just that opening shot was just the opening sequence.
See the BFG running to giant country, and he's just hopping over, you know, the ocean and landing on the little.
I mean, and clearly a lot of this was done on green screen, and you know, to me that screams that they took a lot from the Alice in Wonderland film, which I really enjoyed. I don't know your opinion on that, but I really enjoyed it, and I feel like they used a lot of the same technology on this. Obviously, it's been several years since that movie, so the technology is even more advanced at this point.
Yeah, this is one of the best looking films, if not the best looking film of 2016. It's right up there with...
And it's easily probably the best looking film Disney has put out.
Yeah, it's right up there with The Jungle Book. It's right up there with Batman v Superman, because I thought that was a pleasant movie to look at, just with the visuals.
Well, yeah, I thought the high point of one of that films was the cinematography as well.
Mm-hmm. I'll even say Gods of Egypt. You know, I'll give a compliment when I'm in. That movie is utter shit, but it had some great visuals. I mean, this movie's just right up there with them. I don't know if it's better than them, but it's just breathtakingly beautiful. And the use of CGI is done so well. I could not see them doing a big friendly giant movie any other way that they did with this. The cinematography, the effects, the CGI, everything is just pleasant to look at.
Well, and it kind of begs the question. You know, you said earlier that
the question, begs the question is a logical fallacy. Let's not be too retarded in these
whatever reviews. You were saying earlier that you know, you'd been waiting years for this movie, but you know, you kind of have to think, is this a movie that, you know, would they have gotten away with making this back then? And I'm not sure that they would have been able to.
Yeah, I feel like
maybe with Pixar's technology they could have gotten away with it if they wanted to do it fully animated and no.
Or yeah, you know, the Iron Giant, like animated like that, like more cartoonish, or Pixar. I think that would have been the only other way, because there could not have been a live action BFG movie, because I mean, it would have looked too fake. But this movie, like, the CGI is obvious. It's obviously CGI, but like, it's done in such a way that looks beautiful.
Yeah, and when at that opening shot, I thought it was gonna be animated in a way. Like, did you ever see the Beowulf movie?
Yep.
Like, I thought it was gonna be animated in a way like that, where it was like there were times like you knew it was CGI, but at times you couldn't tell, like, is this CGI or is this real? Like, because that movie looked so hyper realistic, even being CGI.
Mm-hmm. You know what I would have really, really, really liked to see this if this movie had been made like about like 6 or 7 years earlier than what it was, like 2016. Mm-hmm. it'd have been like kind of like half live action and then half like cartoon. And it's just like storybook, animation, with the whole, giant country and everything. But once it gets back into the real world, it goes back to live action. I feel like that'd have been really cool too. But I mean, this movie definitely live action. You did a good job. Good job, Disney.
Yeah, I mean this, and again, this is one of those movies that it's one of those that you got to wonder if anybody other than Disney could have pulled this off.
Yeah, and I don't believe so. I feel like they got the perfect director for it. I mean, Steven Spielberg, great job. Like, I haven't really been keen on what you put out lately, but good job with this movie. Like, you did good. Good job. God, the girl who plays Sophie, Jesus Christ, I gotta give her a round of applause. The same way with the kid that played Mowgli. I'm pretty sure she's just acting in front of a puppet.
And I remember when episode 7 first came out, I was watching a guy doing a review of it, and he said, I don't know if acting is just getting easier or people are just getting better coming in, but all these younger actors are just really knocking it out of the park.
Yeah,
and a lot of movies are going with the younger, less experienced actors, and you can't even tell that they don't have that much experience.
Obviously the dialogue can get kind of cheesy, but like it's like from the book, so.
But it was cheesy in a way that worked, not cheesy in a way that took away from it at all.
It's all about line delivery. You could say the stupidest thing, but if you deliver that line like great, it becomes a great line. And obviously they go with like stereotypical British, isms, I want to say. I'm going to call the coppers.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, everything that they say is delivered in such a way that I buy. Even though, like, I'm pretty sure a British person would not say coppers. But
they were just so confident in their delivery.
Sorry, I'm just kind of paranoid with the cops. There's like a bunch of cops around here.
Yeah, I think they pulled someone over.
Is there one thing I just really want to talk about? I mean, I don't know why I put that in a question. Of course, there's something I want to talk about. John Williams, man.
Knocks it out of the park again.
I wouldn't say knocks it out of the park, but he did a really good job at making sure that nothing was scary for kids. Because, like, you hear the little... The fuck was that?
Any movie that he's ever done, I've never been disappointed with. I really don't think I've ever been disappointed with him.
I think the biggest thing I can talk about with John Williams in this movie, it reminds me a lot of early Harry Potter movies. Like, you hear the like just this little, playful kind of childish, explorative little, like ism, a John Williams-ism, like kind of. If you're familiar with the book, I mean, you're gonna know what happens in this movie. Everything is pretty, one note, but like at the same time, it didn't need to be anything surprising at every angle, because people would have complained it wouldn't be like the book. And I think it's a pretty faithful adaptation of my beloved novel.
And as an outsider looking in, it worked in a way that, like, I wasn't sure where it was gonna go next. As someone who's got the only Roald Dahl book I have ever read was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I've seen both adaptations of that. But this one, I wasn't sure what to expect, and zero expectations, and I walked away happy.
Yeah, and I think everyone that watches this movie, even if you, don't think it's the best movie so far, I think you're gonna walk away pretty happy. I'm pretty sure I liked it more than a lot of other people. But I think everyone can agree we'll walk out happy and in a good mood. Because the movie's just pleasant and it's heartwarming. All the time. Even in its climactic, giant, gobbling moments, it's just really heartwarming.
I mean, it's not gonna be a movie that walks away with a bunch of Oscars and Golden Globes.
Wow, what a philosophically advanced movie. No, this is just a really
it played to the audience that it wanted to go to really well. And at the end of the day, that's what's important. If your audience is, the kind of audience that can determine whether you win an Oscar, then your goal is to play to that. Not every movie has to win a bunch of awards to be considered good.
And this movie knew what it set out to do. It didn't try and reach for, contemporary, political commentary.
And if
like the Purge election year.
And if it had tried to do that, it would have taken away from it so much.
Mm-hmm. And I gotta give the movie props for that. It was really self-contained in a beautiful world. The acting is great. I think the direction is phenomenal, and the score really complements this movie.
Well, and that's something Spielberg does well. He knows. One thing that Spielberg always does is he knows his audience. His delivery, what the final product he delivers may not always be perfect, but he knows his audience.
Or good Indiana Jones 4. Okay. That's,
it wasn't
Spielberg and George Lucas. Okay, I can live with that. You can blame George Lucas because he's kind of a piece of shit, but
I don't know if something just snapped in George Lucas's brain, or if he's got like early onset Alzheimer's, or what the fuck is happening with him at this point. But
at least he won't wipe his grubby little Cheetos dusted fingers off of Star Wars anymore. We're done with remastered editions.
Han shot first.
Han will always shoot first. I'm pretty confident giving this movie an 8 out of 10.
I'd agree with that.
8 out of 10?
8 out of 10.
So, with a consensus of 8 out of 10, this movie is a definite Redbox rental, and I'm definitely going to buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out.
And I mean, it was, we paid, the $9 a person for student tickets, and it was...
I'm always going to use that student ticket discount. Even when I'm 26. I'd be like, yeah, I've just gotten held back a lot.
I've just been taking one class at Ivy Tech every semester until I get enough credits to graduate.
And with that being said, I want to thank you so much for watching. I am the Psychedelic Mystic, joined with the BFG again, and we will catch you guys next time. Peace!
So, spoilers now.
I really wish that the movie would have explained the dreams a little more, because I think that could have been like a good 30 or 40 minute section of just like peering into the child's dreams. Like they did that for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, with the kid getting the call from the president, that one.
Yeah, I wish they would have just made a really, really, really long scene of that, because that was the magic I wanted to look at in this movie. And there's definitely magic in dreams, like surreal physical like dreams that you can hold, and I was really pleased to see that. I mean, that was the most beautiful part of the movie, with the dream tree in dream country.
And I don't know if it's just because I was tired, but I wasn't quite sure what he was talking about with Sophie's dream. Like, I get that he was saying, you're grown up and you got kids and you'll have a family, and then after that I was like, wait a minute, what's going on?
I had a little bit of a theory, and I had this theory since I was a kid, of Sophie's dream. She grows up to be Charlie's mother.
Okay.
We can't do anything with theories right now. No.
Backtrack.
It's too late.
One thing that confused me about this movie. Okay, that opening shot with the drunk people and the style of all the vehicles and that, and the way the orphanage was set up, I thought this was like 1940s, 1950s. And then, you're at the end and the soldiers are in fucking those dual rotor choppers, and they got the fucking like the people in the Royal Garden got the assault rifles. I'm like, what fucking time period is this? Like, did you think that too? Did you notice that?
Maybe like while she was in Dream Country, it was just like 50 years passed and no one realized that she was gone or some bullshit. That's not important. That's not a spoiler.
It's just something I noticed. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Some of the best scenes, I think, just on a visual aesthetic, when the giant is just traveling and holding Sophie. Yeah. I could watch scenes like that for a long time.
The first person parts, the one more, like, was it showing it from Sophie's first? Like, there were parts where it showed it from Sophie's first person, and then in the giant's first person as well.
I mean, it was I'm not sure exactly what perspective it was. It's something I'd have to pay attention to when I watch it again, but it's just harkening back to Steven Spielberg's masterful directing.
And it worked. The first person worked, you know, and that's when you've got a largely animated world like or when like Giant Country was, you're able to do things like that.
Yeah, and getting back to the Giants specifically, like a lot of fun can be had in those moments with the Giant, like when they're, you know, messing with the BFG and Sophie's in the car and they're like riding, you know, the cars kind of to like clash into each other.
And that was, I'll admit that was some juvenile humor there at the end of that part, but Kara heard me. I let out a pretty noticeable laugh. I was like,
yeah, because like the Giants are afraid of water, and then it started raining, and then they have like all the human utilities. Big Giant gets a little umbrella.
well, and then no, what I'm talking about is the part with the car where she steers it so his leg veers to the right, and then the Giant, and then the BFG just headbutts the Giant right in the nuts, and he goes down. Like, that's so juvenile, and I am a 20-year-old man still laughing at groin shot jokes.
Yeah. Or when the BFG comes into the human world to meet the queen, and then they're having like a meal, and he has to have like his own big table with like servers like on ladders and everything.
And they've got a knife for him. They have the
sword,
sword for the knife, and then a pitchfork for his regular fork. And then they have what's that drink called?
I don't remember what it's called.
But the bubbles go down, and this was,
and it makes people fart.
He and I were laughing the entire time. Everyone takes a drink. The queen, the dogs.
Yeah, the dogs are farting, and they're just scooting like
it
on
sounded
the floor.
like those little party whistle things, and they're just scooting along the floor.
Yeah, like it's a really like cartoonish farting. Like I will not get like people literally rocketeer up, like when they fart, and it's really funny.
And like you even see like the little flames, like it would be a jet engine underneath.
Yeah, and I'm someone who, for the most part, can't stand fart jokes in movies.
But this movie did it right.
Yeah,
like like it actually managed to like do a fart joke in a tasteful way.
See, Michael Bay, it can be done. My favorite part of the movie was near the end when she's like reading, like it's a storybook narration, and the Giants get, you know, carried and then dropped into the ocean, and they have to swim back to land, and they end up on this lone island, and they just get vegetables and vegetable seeds delivered to them.
Just a big fucking crate of snozcumbers, which the Giants hate.
Yeah, and then like it's and it's narrated in such a way. I was wondering like, oh, so it's like she's reading a storybook, and it's just Steven Spielberg directing again, and it's something that's just always visually.
Yeah, I mean It was meta there at the end, but it was the good kind of meta.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that the BFG's writing a book, and it turns out that like the book he's writing is the literal BFG.
The BFG.
So I have to reread the book, and I wonder if that's how it ends. Like he's writing a book, and then it is the book. But it's something like The Outsider, where like the book he's writing is the literal book. But I mean, I wonder if that's how it ends. I don't think it is, but if it is, wow. Just from the very beginning, you know what kind of movie this is going to be, with her saying the witch's hour. People say the witch's hour is at 12. I think it's at 3, because that's when everyone's asleep except me.
I didn't quite understand that beginning sequence, but I understand how, like, if you hadn't read it before, you would think, like, how I did. Like, is that the BFG, or is that the boogeyman, and then the BFG is going to save her?
Mm-hmm. Guarantee you, if Zack Snyder had directed this, and the movie turned out exactly as it was, it would be at a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes. No big.